to the Video Chronicles. I'm Keenan Dijon, still being Keenan Dijon. Got a real treat for you this time. Our artist of the week, more popularly known as Ayana. Had an opportunity to sit down with her. Real insightful, real good show. So I'm gonna keep it moving, ain't gonna hold you too tight. Yo, Jay, roll that video for him. So what was the first album you ever purchased?
The first album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The Miseducation. That was a big
real.
album.
Yeah. Who are some of your influences now in the industry,
Oh,
or even underground?
I'm an old school fan. Like, I love Patty, Tiny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye, Stevie, Aretha. Like, I'm an old Lauren. I love Bob Marley. Right now, I like some of the artists that are out. I love Neo because he's a great songwriter.
Yeah.
The Dream because he's a writer. I'm just happy. I'm excited about songwriters really getting a chance to be heard. Like, they're taking it from the studio and just being kind of behind the scenes. That's kind of my situation. So I'm rooting for them. You know what I mean? Because I'm a songwriter and an artist. So yeah, those are some of my.
That's what's up.
People right there.
That's what's up. You named a lot of old school cats too. That's cool. That's cool. Like, how did you get started in this? You know what I mean? What brought you to this seat right here?
That is that's like a book, but I'll make it brief for you.
The synopsis of it.
Yeah. I grew up in church singing, but I was real shy, and I was like 200 pounds. I was a church girl for real. Big girl, loving God, just going singing in the choir. And I went away to school for a year, and while I was there, when I was 14, I sang backup for Patti LaBelle.
Okay.
So that experience, it was like 30,000 people in the audience. I was like, I want to do this every day. But after that, I finished high school, and then I went to college, and my first year there was cool. I had good experiences, but I knew I wanted to be in music. And so I left college that year. I was like, this is it, my freshman year, I'm going home, I'm gonna do music. And everybody's like, whatever. So I go home, and I put together a band, and we're just rehearsing for no shows. Like, we had just rehearsing. And while I was in D.C., I went back home. I'm from Washington, D.C. I met with my manager. His name is Marvin Walker. And he had just got there from Colorado. And we met at on Howard's campus. Okay. And I told him, well, I didn't tell him at first that I was a singer. I just told him I was a songwriter, because I was a big girl and I didn't want to be like, because when you grow up and you want to do certain things, there are people who say, oh, you can't because of this or because of that. Right. So I was at the point in my life where I was really discouraged. Like, so I'm just not going to tell anybody else so they won't reject me or tell me I'm too fat. And so I didn't tell him for like months, maybe 2 or 3 months, that we were working together. And a friend of his was managing me at the time. And after a few months, I was like, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. And he was like, I really don't like how he's handling the situation. Because it was like janky, you know how we do sometimes. And so he started managing me, and I had a band. And we had 5 pieces. He drove, the band just kind of rode along, and I was asleep. But we drove from Washington, D.C. to Colorado. Mind you, we had no gigs, nothing. We just was like, he had a friend who was going to invest in our company and, help us, because we just did an album, independent little thing. Right. So we drove all the way to Colorado.
Like 20 hours?
28 hours from Washington, D.C. to Colorado.
Y'all got real tight.
Yeah, there was a bump. We had like 4 flat tires along the way. We get like to Kansas City, and we get flat tires. We're in dead nowhere. There's nothing but cows and like just grass and dirt. And then this guy comes by in a truck. We have to walk to the gas. It was just drama. We're taking pictures with cows like, you know what I mean? But we drove to Colorado. When we got there, the first week we got there, we were supposed to have a house. And we'd already paid, we'd already paid to stay there. But once we got there, there was like a big old car in the on the porch and rats running through the house, had clothes everywhere. So we were like, we can't stay here. What are we going to do? So the first night we stayed at a hotel. We had a little bit of money saved to stay at a hotel. Next night we had no money. So we're like driving around like, oh God, what are we going to do? My band is crying and they're scared. We're all teenagers. And my manager's like, just be quiet, just calm down, it'll be all right. We're like, no, it's not going to be all right. So we pull up in a church parking lot. And the parking lot is dark. It's probably like 11, 12 o'clock at night. It's Colorado. Right. The heat goes out in the van. Ooh. So we're out there freezing, like we get in the circle and pray, like, God, please help us. We don't know what to do. We all go to sleep. Next morning, the pastor of the church let us come in and shower. It was just really surreal. Like, as I think about it, it was just so weird how everything kind of fell in place. Mm-hmm. But the pastor let us shower at the church. Later on, he spoke to the friend that we went out there to meet. Right. He ended up moving us in. He had this house with studio built in, engineers. And then we all just ended up staying there for a while. That band disbanded, moved back to DC. You know, we had little issues. We moved back to DC. We stayed there for about a week, moved to Atlanta. We were like, we're going to go to Atlanta, do this, get into music. Atlanta's like popping. It's everywhere, you know, everybody's doing music in Atlanta. So we come to Atlanta. Nobody wants to work with me because I'm unknown. I'm the fat girl who doesn't know anybody. I know it's horrible, right?
That sounds so harsh.
But you know what? It was good because that part of my life, you know, being a heavy girl, I was 205 at my heaviest, and I'm 5 feet. So imagine, yeah, yeah. But I wanted to lose the weight. There was just not enough motivation, and my manager was from the military, so he's like, "Come on, I'll motivate you. We're gonna lose this weight." First month, I lost about 40 pounds. Second month, altogether, I lost about 75 pounds. Wow. And it was dramatic. Wow. Dramatic.
They introduced you to Jenny Craig, or you just
No, it was like boot camp 101.
Like straight hazing.
Like, that's the Grammy, we're gonna run to the Grammy. Like, it was stuff like that. He was motivated because
they put the carrot on top.
Yeah, like but it was a great experience because it for me it built character. Yes. You know, there were certain disciplines that I didn't have before this experience, and then I ended up, when we left Atlanta, because nobody knew me, nobody wanted to work with me, it was like a little web of people, they don't let you in. So we moved to New York. He's like, let's go to New York. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to go to New York. We moved to New York. We ran out of money in New York, ended up homeless. I was homeless for 8 months. I stayed in a homeless shelter in New York. And we would get up and walk from the homeless shelter to the train, take the train, go into the studio. I'd sit and write. I wrote for Alicia Keys while I was in New York. I wrote for a bunch of different artists. I worked with a bunch of different producers who did records with 50 Cent and Omarion and J-Lo. And the whole time, no one knew that I was homeless. They would order pizza, and I'd be like, or like we'd be in the studio, like one night, and it'd be like 11 o'clock, and we haven't eaten because all we had was money to get from the shelter to the studio. So we'd be like, Lord, please let them order pizza. They order pizza, and we try to eat slow. Like, I'm not hungry. Can I have another slice? I'm not. But you know, I went from, you know, from having a dream at 10 to coming back home from college, meeting up with my manager, going to Colorado, not working, coming to Atlanta, being told no, going to New York, having the opportunity but not being able to, you know, live because New York is expensive. So being homeless, we were homeless for 8 months there. You know, while I was homeless, I did a deal. I did a songwriter's deal. Okay. They actually came to the homeless shelter and I signed the contract. It was like crazy. But then we moved back to Atlanta. I started writing and recording. And one of the guys over at King Magazine saw us, and he invested. And for a while, you know, we were, you know, letting that investment kind of help us build what we were doing. Bought a studio. We bought a studio actually with the money that I got from the songwriters deal. So we built, and I was just recording and writing every day. And we ran out of the money for the guy at King Magazine. He was like, oh God, what are we gonna do now? But so my manager, we had already did it the first time we went to Colorado. Right. We packaged a little CD, but it was like janky, it was awful. But this time he's like, okay, let's do that again, but this time we have records. Because I've worked with all the people in the industry at this point. So it's like, okay, we have solid records that we can go with. We'll put it together, we'll go out and we'll sell it. We'll wrap a truck and we'll just go out and sell it.
You can enjoy yourself. You can learn something. Definitely can. The Video Chronicles is here to teach you. Sometimes, entertain you all the time. Keenan Dijon, I stay cool. Miss Ayana, definitely doing a thing, blessing us with our presence. So we'll see you back here next time. The Video Chronicles, holla.